Today I want to talk about dominant 7 chords on the mandolin. So there are 3 types of 7 chords often used when making chords on the guitar, the piano, the mandolin, the banjo, and they are the dominant 7, the major 7, and the minor 7. Today I just want to talk about how to make dominant 7 or just plain old 7 chords on the mandolin. So what you do is you take the 1, 3, 5 notes of the chord, and then you add the 7th note of that scale lowered by a half step. So in the case of G, if the 7th note is F sharp, then the note you're going to use to make a 7 chord will be F. So the G7 chord I use, you put your first finger on the F note, the first fret E string, second finger on the second fret A string, third finger on the third fret D string, and fourth finger on the fourth fret G string. Excuse me. And that's a G7 chord. Let me show you that to you again. First finger on the first fret E string, second finger on the second fret A string, third finger on the third fret D string, and fourth finger on the fourth fret G string. There aren't heck of a lot of I apologize. I don't know why this is happening to me. I don't use the G7 very often, but if I'm playing the Beatles, I do. So it's worth learning it. Some other common 7 chords are A7. So do your regular A chord, which is first finger on the second fret G string, and second fret D string. Second finger on the fourth fret A string for C sharp, and third finger on the fifth fret E string. So we have A, E, C sharp, and A. That's your A chord. And now you want to make it a 7. So what is the 7th note of the A major scale? So it's A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. So to make it the dominant 7, you lower it by a half step or 1 fret, making it a G. So you want a G. You want to find a G somehow. So the G I use is this one, which is the 5th fret D string. And the way I play it with this chord is I put my 4th finger on the 5th fret D string, and I get the 7 chord. Now that's a bit of a stretch for a lot of people. So to be able to do that, I recommend practicing my 4th finger exercises. And I've uploaded videos already to the YouTube channel that describe the 4th finger exercises. So all you do is just go to the mandolin lesson playlist, and in the search bar at the top, just type in 4th finger exercises or just 4th finger and scroll down until you find it. To just limber up that 4th finger so that you can use it to stretch to the 7th and 8th fret, to, make 7 chords and so on. All right. So let's do the D7 chord. So the D7 chord is very similar in shape to the A7. So you put your first finger on the second fret G string, that's an A. Second finger on the 4th fret D string, that's an F sharp. Third finger on the 5th fret A string, that's a D. So there's your D chord. And then you take your fourth finger and bring it around and put it on the fifth fret G string for a C. Why C? Because the seventh note of the D major scale is C sharp. And remember, what you do is you lower the seventh note by one fret or one half step to get the seven note. So I'm sure there are other ways to get a more efficient seven chord, but because I use these chord shapes all the time, the A, it's more convenient to use this D7, A7, sorry. So A7. And because I use this D form all the time, it's more efficient for me to use this form of the D7. Like I said, the G7 is very rarely ever used, but there it is in case you want to use it. So other seven chords like E7, the E7 form is really, really useful because it's a movable chord, so you can move it up a fret for F7. You can move it up to 2 frets for F sharp, 7, or just F sharp. You can move it up. It's a movable chord, so you can constantly change its position and get different chords out of it. So if you recall the E, you start with your second finger on the fourth fret G string and your first finger barring the D, second fret D string and second fret A string. See how I'm doing that? I've got one finger over those 4 strings. And then finally your third finger on the fourth fret E string. So the E chord sounds like this. And like I said, this is a movable chord, right? So you can do E flat or F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, right? So it's a really great chord. It's very useful. E minor, I've said this before, but the E minor that I use, I just lift up my third finger off the E string, but I keep my first and second fingers in place. And that's the E minor chord I use. Okay, let me show you the E7 chord. So get back into your E major position. And now you're going to take your fourth finger and you're going to put it on the fifth fret A string for a D. And it sounds like this. Why D? Because the seventh note of the E major scale is D sharp. So you lower the seventh note by a half step or 1 fret in this on the mandolin, and you get a D note. So here's the D7, the E7, sorry. So with this form, you can make it an F7, F sharp 7, G7, and so on. All right, so that's A, E, D. C, I don't really use as a 7 chord that much. The seventh note of the C major scale, if you count up from C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B is B. So to make it a 7, you lower it by half step, which is a B flat. I use a 2-finger version of the C7 chord with a B flat and an E. It sounds like that. It's kind of a awkward sound, but it's a short version of the C7 chord. So that's what else do we have? I think that's it. There, of course, there are other chords that you can figure out on your own. And just remember, the rule of thumb is to have the 1, 3, 5 of the major chord, the major triad, and add the flatted seventh of that scale. So, like I said, if it's F sharp, you're going to change it to an F. If it's C sharp, you're going to change it to a C. If it's B, you're going to change it to a B flat, and so on. Okay? Hope this is helpful. I've put links to reach me online in the description below. You can post a comment on my website, or you can comment here, and I'll do my best to try to respond to your comment. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you have a great day.